welcome to another video, and today I'm going to show you how to successfully teach others a language, especially online, but it also works in person. So the first thing you want to do is to create a Google document. Now I can show you a template of how I usually design mine, but first you've got the name of them and then you write some information on them, like their name, obviously. That's the main thing. I already said that. So I have to gather my thoughts. So you write some general information on them, their hobbies and their goals. Like before each lesson, you want to find out what it is they want to accomplish. So if they have like an exam, say, so I teach German and French, and so when I teach German and someone tells me that they have an A1 exam coming up or like C2 Goethe exam or something, then I know how to prepare myself and how much time I have left. So this is something I do. I will show you how this document is structured. I start off by writing everything down about them, like general information. Then their hobbies. Next we have the goals. Then I will write down the date of the class. Here I put some exercises in that I got from ChatGPT. The prompt I used was give me an A2 exam or like exercises. So here we've got a comprehension text. Yeah, you can read it in depth, but it's simple so that a beginner could understand this. Then yeah, you have the exercises for that, like right or wrong. And lastly, I put in the table of all the words that came up during the lesson. So yeah, and then also the topics discussed and other notes. Here it was about a verb. And then when it comes to the lesson, there are many ways to teach. So I think it always depends on what the person you're dealing with is like individually. So sometimes you have people who are more talkative and who also want to like ameliorate their speaking style. So you should let them speak as much as possible. Let them speak as much as they can. And others want to do more grammar stuff, so can be a bit more dry when you do more like exercises step by step, or if you have like room for discussion and speak about a certain topic. It is great to have like the ping pong principle, which means that you have a topic, say like a controversial question like, is AI creating job losses, and then you gather like pro and contra arguments, and then say you are pro and they argue for contra arguments, and in this way they also have to listen to you, because comprehension is also a very big part of them progressing in the language.
You can have a heated debate.
What you have to do is speaking, comprehension, reading, and grammar. And so yeah, like I said, the conversation of like a discussion, like a question with that, is just one part of creating a speaking exercise. Another part of that can be to, start talking, like you start the lesson with a bit of small talk, like, hey, how are you, have you been? What did you do those past few weeks? And then sometimes they will reveal a topic, like say, for instance, that's a bit sillier, but I had a teenager today and we both are very much into gossip. And so she told me about the P. Diddy scandal. And so what we did, we looked up a German video on the tea. I only realized after editing everything how insensitive this was. Like, oh my god, this was not like some little scandal or like, cute little gossip or canceling situation, but this was like really, really dark what happened there. And so I apologize for being, yeah, super insensitive. And yeah, I didn't think this through at all. Like, I forgot the context a little bit, and so I want you to consider this. I didn't mean harm in any way. This was meant to be funny, but given the situation, it's really not. And I explained what happened and stuff, and so we went over the video, and then she explained to me what she saw, what she thinks of the situation, and again, I gave her the floor so that she could speak as much as possible. And or another student, we talked about his hobbies, and he was telling me how he loved to play ping pong. And so I googled ping pong, and then multiple articles came up. And one was on a grandma that won gold, or like that's was super successful. And I thought this, like something like that, that's funny, that sticks out. And so we both, or like I let him read the article out loud, and then he gave me his opinion on it, and like what he, and then it was super interesting because we got into so many aspects of the discussion, like how old people can still, have active lives. We spoke about the Olympics, about the sport itself, about his personal experiences. I told him about mine, that I suck at ping pong, and that I always play tennis, so it's a different sport and I had to get used to it, like the movement is not the same. With another person, I could speak a lot about literature, because we both, like dystopian novels like Animal Farm, 1984. It's 1984. It's one of my favorite books, and I'm always confused which 1980 and then the last number. Never mind. And so in the speaking exercises, you have so much like creative room to find a topic and to let the other person speak as much as possible, which is usually one of their main goals, right? If you want to learn a language and you are going to someone tutoring you, then what you mostly want is to have this room to speak, because everything else you can kind of do by yourself or find online, like learning materials and stuff. So I think if you decide to do this kind of tutoring style, always design your classes around conversation. So when it comes to other exercises such as comprehension, I like to use YouTube a lot. So I, type in the general level. So if it's A2, then I just write A2 exercises, and then something comes up and I can use that with them. So general questions I always ask are, what did you think of that? How much did you understand? Can you relate to that? Do you have any personal experience, etc., etc.? The options are almost limitless. And yeah, sometimes again, if we have a topic, then I just type that in and I find something on that. Like once I talked about cartoons with someone, and then we found a German cartoon and talked about this. What you can also do, another girl told me that she loved cats, and so I found a little clip on cats, like a mini documentary of 10 minutes, because mind you, I have 1 hour to teach someone. I don't want to watch an entire video for this whole hour. I think that comes across a bit lazy. So segments or parts of videos or other medias are great. So that is what I do for like comprehension. And what was the third one we had?
For grammar and all the other exercises. So I also prepare. I know the basic grammar, so I explain it to them. And
if I have questions, I look it up again. And for exercises on something specific, you can either Google and find like exercises on the past tense of something, and stuff will come up. But now that we live in the golden age of AI, love it or hate it, we can use ChatGPT for that. So it can easily generate great exercises. So you can be like, hey, can you please give me like structure an A2 exam? And then you have the whole exam. You can go over it with your student. And and this way you can also have many opportunities to work with them. And lastly, those are my top tips. Like, you can never go wrong with this. Like, there's always stuff to talk about, but in need of something, like say you ran out of all your ideas, there's no creativity left whatsoever, maybe you guessed it, use ChatGPT. Like, you just type in, hey, what are like 5 creative ways to spice up a lesson, or to get new ideas on how to get a student to speak more, how can I make someone feel more comfortable, speaking of which, writing is amazing too. Like, if you watch a video with them, you can be like, hey, please write what you thought about this. and also give them homework. So writing is great, like, hey, write 15 sentences on your weekend, about your weekend. And yeah, this is just something that you can always do with them, just the writing thing. And I had another idea which I forgot. I wrote it down somewhere. Yeah, so while I have the lesson, I always keep a table with all the words, like all the vocabulary, like English and German. And so later I'd show you how I structure the Google document. But for this table, after the lesson, I will copy this entire table and then put it into ChatGPT and then be like, please create a vocabulary test for me. And then I have a vocabulary test where the word is in English brackets and they should fill in the German ones. So you can create great homework that's really tailored to what you discussed in the lesson. So here is an example. So the words used in this test are all words that came up during the lesson. So this is a nice way to integrate what we talked about in a different way and test them. And if your students do that after the lesson, it also helps them to implement what they learned with you. Which is always. So yeah, ChatGPT really is amazing.
Enough already.
That is something that's great for you to structure your lessons. Of course, you can't be too lazy with it. Like, you still need to kind of look out for what your student is looking for, so it always needs to be super tailored. So I would say the recipe for success to teach someone else is to really look at them. Like, what are their needs? How can they improve? What makes them happy? Like, what do they like talking about? What are their strengths, their weaknesses? Are they a bit more shy or like more open, introverted, extroverted? Like, you have to kind of get a feel of who the person is. Yeah, those are all my tips. I can really recommend teaching others. It's so much fun. You will learn so much, not just about the language you're teaching, but also about other people. It's like, I have so many international people. I learned so much about the wildest thing, like other cultures, but also like so specific themes. Like, I learned so much about architecture from a girl who studies that, or like who is actually a professional architect. And so even for oneself, I can really recommend doing that and making some extra money with it, especially if you're a student, because it's a really fun way to make money and to meet people. And it's great for your social skills because you get to communicate with so many different people. It's great for your organizational skills. And yeah, so I can't recommend it enough. And I really hope this video inspired you to start it as well and to get ideas on how to properly structure it. Okay, this is all from me, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.